3A Women's Volleyball Championships inside Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh features a first-time participant, the Chargers of Cox Mill against the Chapel Hill Tigers. And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome inside Reynolds Coliseum alongside Adrian Corr. I'm Patrick Keenis. And Adrian, this is going to be really interesting. Chapel Hill has been here before, a couple of titles, the most recent one 13 years ago. For the Chargers of Cox Mill, this is brand new territory for them, but this is a program that has built kind of itself, great team chemistry. They've taken some trips together, and they feel like this is their moment, and a nationally ranked team as well.
You can tell they have worked truly hard to get here, not going to 5 sets all season long. They have won in either 3 or 4 sets in every single team they have faced. Their player to watch is going to be Taylor Rowland, going to be one of their go-to hitters that they're going to utilize and really be one of their strengths.
Now the Chargers are 34-0. Chapel Hill, meanwhile, 19-5. They got through the Big 8 3A conference at 11-1, but they find a way to win. You take a look at their brackets through this tournament so far in the playoffs, twice extended to 5 sets. How have they gotten through?
They have. Even in quarterfinals, they were down 0-2 and came back to win that quarterfinal game 3-2. So that says a lot about a team, their determination, and being able to finish plays, even though it might be a tough start. So their player to watch is going to be Shea Golden, one of their star players that's really going to be their go-to person that's going to set and really give great balls for their hitters.
All right, so the Tigers looking for their 3rd state championship, and Cox Mill here for the very first time. 3A Women's Volleyball Championship will serve it up when we return to Raleigh on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. And the lights are up inside Reynolds Coliseum for the 3A Women's Volleyball State Championships. Cox Mill undefeated, 34-0. Chapel Hill, 19-5. Patrick Keenis, Adrian Corr, 3rd member of our broadcast crew. Let's bring in Chantel Jordan, who will set the scene. Chantel.
Thanks, Patrick. I spoke to Coach Fields for Chapel Hill, and he said the girls have had to work hard all season long. He's really proud of their resilience. He said serving has been key this year, keeping opponents out of system and just really focusing on that balanced attack is what they're focused on today. Now, I also spoke to Coach Phillips for Cox Mill, and she said team cohesion has been a major focal point, teaching the girls to trust one another out on the court. Now, they're coming in today only dropping a few sets the entire season, so they're going to put up a fight today. Guys?
All right, thanks very much, Chantel and Adrian. Let's kind of break down this matchup. Let's start off, first off, for Chapel Hill, 19-5. But we talked with Ross Fields before the match. He said 4 of the 5 losses we've suffered this year are from teams who will play in this building at some point today for a state championship. What kind of road have they traveled to get here?
So to add on to those 5 losses that you just said, 4 are going to be competing for a state championship. However, 3 of those 5 losses, 1 of those just earned their state title. So 3 of their losses are to a state championship team. Coach Fields was very confident, and they've seen competition. They've seen great teams, and that's really built them up to have their game at a higher level so that they can really compete today.
And we get a look at the Chapel Hill Tigers with a great contingent of fans in attendance here in Raleigh, about 25 miles away. Ross Fields trying to bring back the 3rd ever volleyball championship to Chapel Hill. Last one was back in 2003 when they were at the highest classification at 4A. Well, now let's shift to the Chargers of undefeated Cox Mill, 34-0. They're out of Concord, North Carolina, a school that was only established 7 years ago, and here they are playing for a state championship. What has Michelle Phillips, the head coach, done to build this program up so fast?
You could even tell when we talked with her confidence level in every single one of these girls. She was very calm, very collected, and she just very plainly said they're ready to play. They're ready to compete, and you can see the energy, the atmosphere that's in here. They've prepared for this moment. They have spent all season trying to get ready for this exact game that's about to take place.
And we talked strategy with both coaches. Not a lot of information available in terms of matches Chapel Hill has played that Cox Mill can take a look at, or vice versa. But we talked about what they expect to do today versus what they've done over the course of the last 3 months. and both are adjusting, but both seem to be adjusting to the same type of game plan.
It's going to be very interesting to see how both of these front rows match up. So as we spoke with both coaches, they were both stating that they can switch up their front row offense. They don't have to only have an outside hitter. Their setters are at a level that they can send it to any person that's on that front row so that the defense is not expecting what's coming. They can keep that defense guessing, ready to move, and trying to find holes in both sides of the court.
It should be a great one. Cox Mill, Chapel Hill, the 3A Women's Volleyball Championship. First serve is next. Ready for the 3A Women's Volleyball State Championships from inside the newly renovated $35 million inside Reynolds Coliseum. And this is really the christening event here inside NC State's new Reynolds Coliseum on the high school front, and the 3A Women's Volleyball Championships about to get underway. Cox Mill 34-0, Chapel Hill 19-5. On your TV screen, Chapel Hill in the black jerseys trimmed in gold and whites, and Cox Mill on the right side of the screen with the black shorts and the aquamarine tops. So it is Chapel Hill, Cox Mill for the 3A championships. What do you expect to see, especially early in this championship, Adrian?
I am excited to see the energy that both of these teams bring. You can almost feel how ready every single person is to play. They were just ready to get the game started. I think both coaches felt that. They're just ready to let their girls compete. So depending on how momentum changes throughout this game, I think we're going to see a very competitive game.
All right, and Chapel Hill will start things off. Shea Golden, their star. We profiled her in the Stars to Watch. She will serve it up. Best of 5 for the state title, and Golden gets us underway. Chapel Hill 19-5. Cox Mill nationally ranked, undefeated, 34 straight wins, and the opening point will belong to the Tigers of Chapel Hill.
Even on the first point, already looking like it's going to be quite a battle on the front rows. Both have the height, the jumping, so it's going to be quite competitive there.
And great followings from each of these communities, especially that representing Cox Mill from Concord, North Carolina. 1-0, the Tigers have the lead. Shea Golden's kill try is stopped, and a first great opportunity for Cox Mill, blocked by Chapel Hill. Cox Mill will send it across deep into the corner, played by Golden. There's the bump set, and Kira Kreider sends that long, and the first point of the match to Cox Mill. 1-all opening set, and the first serve here for the Chargers will be Lauren Phillips. 5'10" junior. Phillips sends it across. Little confusion on the back line. Free ball across to Cox Mill. Set comes to the near side. Taylor Rowan, yes. And we will be calling Taylor Rowan's name a lot. Number 12, middle of your screen. She'll be playing her college volleyball in the SEC for the Auburn Tigers. Rowan at 6'3", she's only a junior. Still room to grow a little bit more. 2-1 Cox Mill, and there's a clean kill from Chapel Hill's K.M. Merkler.
Couldn't quite tell there if they thought the ball was out or maybe they thought it was someone else's defensive ball, but communication is going to be really key in some of these power offensive hitters we're going to see.
2-2, Avery Corfus Jr. will serve it for the Tigers. To the front line, Courtney Weber comes near side. There's Rowan, blocked. A clean block down by Chapel Hill. And if they can make that a big part of their game plan, they will be in great shape. Kira Kreider right in the middle of it.
Just great timing and positioning, and there she was right by herself, able to get 2 clean hands on that ball.
They will try rolling again. Kept alive on the back line. Chapel Hill's Golden will get to it, but the feed up top a little bit out in front of Kreider, and we are 3-all. Serve the Chargers, 3-all opening set. Back set, Kreider. Set by Courtney Weber, and the touch across. Saved by Chapel Hill. Beautiful play by Phillips on the back line for Cox Mill. Rowland, yes. Off of the arm of Hannah Wander. Taylor Rowland gives Cox Mill a 4-3 lead.
Both teams just really having power. Offense is there, and I heard from a fellow coach a long time ago, offense wins games, defense wins championships, and this is going to be a battle of the defenses.
Looks like that serve might have been going long. Kreider cannot connect cross court, or did she? Did she get the touch? She did. 5-3, Cox Mill.
You could tell she was really aiming for that cross-court corner, but couldn't quite get it.
Another power serve. That one is long. 5-4, Chapel Hill down 1. Side out to the Tigers. Caitlin Grubbs subbed in by Ross Fields. Will serve a point down opening set. Rowland across, handled by Wander. Chance here for the Tigers from the back line. Grubbs, clip the tape. Back line, Phillips. Diving effort, a little bit short by Chapel Hill's Katie Hugie. 6-4 Cox Mill.
You can really tell Cox Mill is trying to stay competitive from all areas of offense, not only using their front row, but trying to incorporate that back row too.
Well, a beautiful flat serve right down the line by Courtney Weber, and the easy kill by Rowland.
I think both teams are really going to have to focus on not having those overpasses, because both front rows are going to be able to do exactly that.
Well, watch how flat these serves are. That ball doesn't even take one rotation. Weber sends it long, taps herself on her chest saying, my fault. 7-5 Cox Mill leading Chapel Hill. First set. Nadia Farrington subbed in for Chapel Hill, replacing Merkler. First look at the 5'4" junior Farrington. Weber, touch across, yes. Tyler Fitzpatrick, the senior, from the outside gets it down. 8-5 Cox Mill. Now Rowland serves it up. Farrington sends it to the top. Free ball across. Played by the Chargers. They set up Phillips. Got the touch.
Talk about turning on a ball. It looked like she was really going hard cross at the angle she was coming in at. So to turn and try to get that on the line, that's a tough ball.
Bailey Rose, cross court long. And Cox Mill stringing some points together, leading 10-5 first set. Little peek of the scoreboard by Rowland. Chargers, she knows, off to a good start. There's the set cross court. Golden denied. Is the room to retrieve? Yes, for Weber. And Rowland sends it across. A great recovery by the Chargers defense. From the back line, they set up Rowland. Just long. Oh, the official was ready to rule it in. The flag was down, and then very slyly moved up.
That was a great call. That ball looked like it was going in. I think everyone in here thought it was going to be just in front of the line, but it did just go long.
And that flag ultimately did come up. 10-6, and that's in the corner. Cox Mill had one player retreating, one player coming over. Neither got in position to play it. 2 straight for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's a great call.
10-7. Wander serves it ahead. Weber the set, rolling off the back again. Punched and kept alive. But well, you see what the Chargers are doing anytime, no matter where Rowland is on the court, they're setting for her.
They are, and defense is ready. She was able to get a hand on that ball. Chapel Hill still doing everything they can just to get the ball back over.
Emma Eford serving it for Cox Mill, up 4, first set. And that one will land. Nobody really took control on that point for Chapel Hill, and Cox Mill goes up 5.
And that looked like a little bit of miscommunication there. I don't think the setter quite thought she had time to get there, but the other helpers weren't sure if she needed the help or not.
Eford, the jump serve from the senior. Oh, and more miscommunication there, a little collision between 2 Tigers, Caitlin Grubbs and Shea Golden. Grubbs from the back basically ran up and into their star Shea Golden. 13-7 Cox Mill. Eford, a terrific serve again. Golden with space. Buries it just inside the back line.
You could even see her confidence after that swing that this is their game that they're focusing on trying to play.
Here's Katie Hugie, left-handed, serves it across. The set comes near side, Searsma, great dig by Wander. And the touch, and wide. Point to the Tigers.
Truly a team effort there. Great up by defense, wonderful set on that hustle. You can see they're really trying to put a few things together here before that lead gets any worse from Cox Mill.
Well, first bit of rhythm we've seen from the Tigers, back-to-back points until that misfire on the serve by Hugie. 14-9 Cox Mill. And again, keep an eye on number 12. Back center of the screen for Cox Mill. That's Taylor Rowan. Bump set a little too far and stuffed down by Allie Searsma. And again, the overpass again impacts Chapel Hill. Second time we've seen that happen in this first set.
That's about as straight down as it gets. That's a great completion of that.
High set, effective block. Down though, the double block up top. Courtney Weber, Allie Searsma defending, and right now impenetrable. 16-9 Cox Mill. I have to think we're getting close to a Ross Fields timeout occasion. Might happen right now. An ace, and Cox Mill are running away from the opening set.
Looks like a substitution instead of a timeout, so we'll see if this change can make a difference in getting out of this serve.
17-9 Cox Mill. Melanie Jones on the serve. Senior from Cox Mill. Delicate serve, still tough to handle. Jones, the set, Phillips gets another point for Cox Mill, and they are rolling in this first set. 18-9 Cox Mill, undefeated. And right now unchallenged in this first set. That's going to go way long.
The good news for Chapel Hill is they have been in this position before. They have been here several times throughout the season and were able to work their way out of this. So I think they've had that experience of making adjustments, being able to change their defense to match what offense they're seeing. So I don't think they're done yet.
A one-handed save by Courtney Weber. Chance for the Tigers. Can they go back-to-back? And yes, they will. Looked like a lift was called against Courtney Weber. Try to save that one that was trying to be placed just over her reach, back with that left hand, but the official called the lift. 18-11. Golden again. They let it go. It's long.
Really great side on that back row. They've had several balls that are really close, but they're very confident in the decisions that they're making.
Tremendous awareness. Lead back to 8. And one more time, the overpass, and this time it's Searsma one more time. It's indefensible. And the passing will have to get a whole lot sharper for Chapel Hill to stay in this one. 20-11. And a netted serve by Phillips. Rowland, number 12, back on the front line for Cox Mill. Avery Corfus serving it for the Tigers. 8 up, Phillips. Point to the Tigers. Just misjudged by Lauren Phillips. That ball carried maybe a little bit higher and deeper than she anticipated. Some instructions from Ross Fields on where he wants Corfus to serve it. Same spot, almost the same reaction. Rowland, yes. Little bit of a tip on the block attempt by Chapel Hill, but Rowland easily powered that through.
Looks
Lead
like
to 8.
Chapel Hill's defense is really going to have to adjust. It looked like one side was a little bit crowded there, and to have the offensive line that Cox Mill does, they're really going to have to spread that defense.
21-13 Cox Mill, make it 22-13. And again, that defense that we're seeing on the front by Courtney Weber and company has been rock solid in this first set. And that one is long. As well as Cox Mill is defending with these blocks, Adrian, what's the strategy now? A little misdirection to get them away from the double blocks?
I think Chapel Hill's going to have to do something different on that offensive line, whether it be that they start tipping, they're doing something that they're setting different people. They need to switch up their timing because Cox Mill has definitely figured out how to block each one of those.
That serve from Grubbs is long. We maybe see some quick sets. We heard from Ross Fields before the match saying they were going to kind of funnel our offense through the middle. Haven't really seen that in this opening set yet.
And he specifically said, and it's so often in high school, that it is an outside hitter versus an outside hitter matchup. That's a lot of your go-to, and they're going to have to start pulling out something different.
23-14 Cox Mill on another huge kill by Rowland. Boy, can she get up and powers it through with ease. And such an innocent look for the assassin on the outside for Cox Mill.
While making it all look so easy.
10 set points for Cox Mill. The touch across. Set point on this kill try from Rowland. A little long. First one saved by Chapel Hill.
Looked like a little bit of confusion there on who was making what substitution. So you have to wonder, are they trying something different to work their way out of this deficit to see if maybe different players can do so?
Freshman Samantha Bresky in for Chapel Hill. 9 set points remain for Cox Mill. They go up, and here's Rowland on the right side. There it is. A walk in the park in the opening set for the Chargers. Led by Taylor Rowland, who's taken her game to the next level in the SEC. And her resume strengthened through a first set 25-15 win. Second set on the way. Cox Mill takes the opening set 25-15 over Chapel Hill. Set 2 coming up for the 3A Women's Volleyball Championships in Raleigh. Undefeated Cox Mill takes the opening set 25-15 over Chapel Hill. Tigers trying to regroup, and Chantel Jordan was inside the Chapel Hill huddle. What did you find out?
Yes, they did make some mistakes in that first set. He wants them to clean up their passing line. He said no more overpasses, and they have to stay focused here going into the second set.
All right, Chantel, thanks. We talked about that during the first set. How do you clean up the overpassing? How difficult of a challenge is that?
Serve receiving is going to have to be pretty close to perfect for Chapel Hill to be able to run their offense for every opportunity they get. They've got to eliminate free balls that they're giving back to Cox Mill because they are truly taking advantage of every one they get.
And what we see from Cox Mill, certainly most of their offense is going, as it well should, through Taylor Rowland. Let's talk now about Chapel Hill. Where do they get the firepower to contend, assuming they do clean up all the other aspects they need to fix?
For the first set to be such a deficit and not to be any closer than it was, I think mentally is going to be their biggest challenge coming into this, overcoming what that first set was and almost starting on a fresh slate here, starting a brand new game, making the adjustments they need to make and really being able to keep the ball in play and really give Cox Mill more opportunities to make the mistakes because that was not the case for the first set.
All right, 25-15, Cox Mill wins the opening set, and this is a Cox Mill team who went 5 weeks during this regular season without surrendering a single set. They won 48 straight sets in between dropping one against Marvin Ridge and one against Jesse Carson, but they have blown through this tournament and reaching their first ever 3A state championship final, and they've dropped only 2 sets. They lost 1 set to Hickory, and in the semifinals, a 4-set win over West Henderson. This is a team that just has not seen a whole lot of adversity over the course of this season.
And I think that confidence that a season like that builds truly shows right now. I don't feel like I have seen many nerves coming out of Cox Mill at all. They are very confident in the game that they are playing. Their go-to hitters have really been hot so far. So their focus right now, I think, is just to continue the momentum that they left off the first set with.
So Chapel Hill will sub in Farrington to begin this second set. Merkler to the Tiger bench, and Cox Mill will have Lauren Phillips, their junior, open up set number 2. To a knee, Farrington digs it. Shea Golden got the tip and the first point to Chapel Hill.
That was exactly the start Chapel Hill needs. Finding ways to get through those blocks that Cox Mill's putting up is going to really play to their advantage.
Katie Huge, all conference, sends it across with her left hand. Trying to build on a 1-point early lead. Handled by Huge. Farrington for Golden. Free ball across. And they tried to set the double block and couldn't get there in time. Rowland found a big gap in between.
Coach Phillips talked before that she could get out there and set a ball that Taylor Rowland would be able to put down, but really she's been seeing some phenomenal sets out there too, and she is finishing the balls that she's given.
And Nia Bridges serves it across as the libero for Cox Mill. And that's Kira Kreider. Hustle by Phillips to get to. Quick set, touch across, played by Melanie Jones. They go to the outside, Rowland. Double hits on Cox Mill, 2-1 Chapel Hill.
Which good thing for Chapel Hill because it looked like that ball was going down again.
Again, based on what we saw in that first set, Chapel Hill is going to have to be almost perfect to turn things around in set 2. And so far off to a good start. With the left, Weber denied, but scrambling now are the Tigers. Free ball across by Huge. Another quick hits, and down it goes. Courtney Weber. 2-all. Weber, Conference Player of the Year.
And you can really see the key to making those dumps successful is to not showing what you're going to do before you do it. And she has pretty much gotten that down pat.
Hustling from the back, and the big strike by Merkler. Chapel Hill up 3-2. Well, the block was there. Merkler just found the gap to the right. Corfus to serve for Chapel Hill, leading 3-2, second set. Back set, Rowland. And that'll boost the confidence for the Tigers. One of the first times they've been able to snuff out Taylor Rowland.
And I feel like this is some of what we didn't get to see out of Chapel Hill in that first set. You can see Coach Phillips of Cox Mill really trying to give some instruction to her girls to adjust to what they're seeing.
Long serve delivered by Corfus, 4-3. Now Taylor Rowland stands 6'3", just a junior. Merkler, handled by Bridges. There's a little dummy set and the kill from the back. There's Rowland again. Off the arm of Wander. First time we've seen that little misdirection from Cox Mill.
That really makes it difficult for blocks to try to figure out who's going to get that ball when they're coming in at all directions.
Rowland eases a serve across. 4-all, second set. Clips the tape. Dive into it as Weber. Opportunity, Chapel Hill, quick set. Rowland touches across, almost got it over the 3 blockers in the middle of the net. Dig by Huge. Longest point of this championship. Back set, touch, nearly a dig, but the point to Cox Mill. Just beyond the outstretched left arm of Wander.
Wow, we've seen a lot of power coming from Cox Mill. Right there you can see just the visibility of the game and looking at where your defenders are and trying to put that ball where your defenders are not.
A little more on the serve by Rowland. Bridges, high set, Fitzpatrick, denied. And defensively, we've seen things elevate from the Tigers in set 2.
So what I'm also noticing is it looks like Chapel Hill has switched a middle hitter and a right side hitter. So Kreider was playing right side in the first set, and now she's in at middle. So I'm wondering if there's some type of strategy Ross Fields is trying to figure out now, and it so far looks like it's working better than what they had going in the first set.
Grubbs in for Kreider, 6-5 Cox Mill, second set. Cox Mill won the opening set 25-15. Emma Eford serving for Cox Mill. Hugie sets near side. Merkler's denied. Hugie again. Trouble here. Not much Chapel Hill could do with that. And that got the touch. Lauren Phillips. 2-point lead for Cox Mill, 7-5.
You know, for Taylor Rowland to be 6'3" and a power hitter, you don't usually see those type of hitters playing back row, but there she is playing a great defensive ball.
7-5 Cox Mill. Merkler, the delicate touch right into the donut, 7-6.
We talked earlier about what does Chapel Hill need to do to be able to change things, and that's a good example. Looking at where their defense was expecting that hit and placing that tip in just the perfect spot.
Deep, solid serve, Farrington. And the quick kill, Allie Searsma. She'll be continuing her volleyball career at Troy. 8-6, Cox Mill. Searsma, though, still has one more year of high school to go. Here's Melanie Jones, up 2. Played off the tape. A little discombobulated here. Another rim shot. Quick kill. Was it deflected or simply long? It was. It was not deflected, simply sent long. 8-7, Cox Mill.
What a one-arm set by Chapel Hill that time, though. You talk about hustling after those balls and trying to make some type of aggressive play.
Wanner. That hits the antenna. Wanner living right. Clipped the tape, jumped up, and the return landed on the very top of the red and white antenna.
Coach Fields referenced their aggressive serving really being one of their key parts earlier in the season, and that is apparent.
8-8, cross court set, Phillips. Here's Golden. And 9-8 lead, Cox Mill. Well, Cox Mill has done a really nice job of neutralizing Shea Golden's impact in this game through the first set and a half. Chargers up a set, up a point in set 2. They come near side, Golden. And a double contact violation on Chapel Hill.
That has to be a little disappointing because they were able to make such a great play out of that.
Hugie comes to it, sets up to the middle off the back, Farrington. That's closed off. And one more time, Taylor Rowland. And Cox Mill just now sprinting ahead by 3. Haven't seen Ross Fields use a single timeout in this championship yet. We'll see if he maybe changes his strategy a bit if Cox Mill strings another point or two together. He was reluctant to do so in the opening set. Farrington, that may have been going long. Rowland, oh, just a whistler up the line. (12-8) Cox Mill.
Just a tough ball to play defense on, and that little bit of a mismatch in height on that block for Chapel Hill is going to be something they have to fix.
Hugie leaves it for Golden. Retrieving is Phillips. Well done. And now free ball across by Rowland. Hugie to the near side. Golden down the line. Oh, right up the side of the head of Melanie Jones. Kept it alive. Phillips gets it across. Hugie, the back set, the runner by Zwicker. Rowland off the tip. Quick set. Oh, they weren't expecting that one. That's one of the first times we've seen Chapel Hill kind of throw into a wild card. And it was Courtney Zwicker.
And what great decision making there to know that that was a good point where they were still in transition to send that ball over.
A beautiful deception by Zwicker. 12-9, Cox Mill. Rowland from the outside, blocked, it's in the air, they weren't sure where it was. Kreider able to locate. Golden, oh, double stuff down. Searsma, Weber. 13-9 Chargers. Well, this is not just a Charger team built around Rowland's offense. We're seeing everything from Cox Mill. Hugie comes near side. Kreider. Long set, Rowland to touch. couldn't beat the defense. One more time, she'll power this one through. Enough with this finesse stuff. Oh, and it hits. And Rowland, another kill. And we do get a timeout from Ross Fields. 14-9, Cox Mill up a set, up 5.
You could see Coach Fields there very passionate, trying to talk to Zwicker about where to move on that block. He wasn't as focused on their back row defensive there, but I think he knows that those blocks have got to start getting hands on balls to slow that down at least a little bit so that their back row defense can make some type of play out of it.
What are you reading on the faces of these Chapel Hill Tigers inside that huddle?
Not quite seeing the energy that I think they started out with. Coach Fields stated when they got there, they were pumped, they were ready to play, they were excited, and I worry that this is taking a little bit out of them, but this game is far from over. They were down 0-2 in quarterfinals, and Coach said that their star player to watch, Shea Golden, was literally able to put the team on her back and lead them to a 3-2 finish. So I know they've been in this situation. They're not going to quit, but things have got to start changing for them to make those good changes.
All right, 14-9, the lead for Cox Mill. Service by the Chargers. Well, it really needs to start now. There's a 1v1 stuff by Cox Mill. Kristen Leday, sophomore, on the court for one of the first times today. Immediate impact. 15-9. Now for the Tigers, they start building with anything. And that service error is a little something for Chapel Hill, down 5. 15-10 with a dangerous juncture in the second set. So here is that opportunity for Shea Golden to begin carrying her team on her back. Rowland gets another one down. The touch off of Zwicker.
At this point, it truly feels like Taylor Rowland is just unstoppable there. For the most part, every ball she goes up against, she's able to terminate on that play. So I think Chapel Hill's #1 goal now is how do we stop Rowland?
16-10 Cox Mill. Hugie diving to save it, and then just touched across by Merkler. Long back set. They know exactly where Rowland is. Anybody there? No. But Rowland was ready if it was happened to come across. I mean, she has taken it over from about the second point of this match.
And that's so difficult when your setter's coming from the back row and she gets those tight passes. She can't jump. There's not but so much she has an opportunity to do.
There's a nice kill, Merkler. Merkler, whose dad is 6'5". She's a freshman at 6'3". Number 14, middle of your screen. A freshman at 6'3". How tall will she wind up in about 3 years? 17-11, and how good will she be in a couple of years? Rowland, maybe that good. Another screamer by Taylor Rowland.
There again, just ease on her face, like this is what comes naturally to her.
18-11 Cox Mill. Hugie for Kreider, blocked down again. Rowland nowhere near, she's on the back line. It was Lauren Phillips and Leday.
You see Coach Fields talking about covering their hitters with the blocking like a front row that Cox Mill has. Coverage has really got to be a job of all 6 players.
19-11, Cox Mill closing in on another dominating set win. There's the cross-court set. Phillips, was there a touch? There was not. Stems the tide momentarily, 19-12. Marina Wolf, senior in for Chapel Hill. She will serve, replacing Kreider. Cox Mill by 7. Set to the middle. Diving to it is Wolf. Set for Merkler. That's long. And there was no touch.
You can tell they were trying to give it back to Merkler to continue doing what she was before. Finding your hitters that are hot in the moment, I think, is Chapel Hill's goal now so that they can have an offense and that they're not having to play so much defense.
Cox Mill won the opening set by 10. 20-12 in set 2. Eford serving. Hugie leaves it in the back. Bumped ahead by Weber. Set for Phillips. And Phillips able to get it down. A little mistiming by Bailey Rose for Chapel Hill, and it's 21-12.
Looks like the ball almost kind of caught in between her hands a little bit there, and she couldn't get turned around to get it up.
For the long approach on her serve. Golden from deep, easily played by Rowland. They play it back for Rowland in the center. Rowland digs it. Phillips sends it long.
Looks like Cox Mill there was still asking for another touch on that ball, but they're not going to get it.
21-13, Cox Mill. Farrington tries to draw Chapel Hill a little bit closer in the second set. Phillips. We get a quick whistle, and it's a net violation.
Tough break after an awesome up.
The violation on Hugie. 22-13, Cox Mill. Melody Jones serves for the Chargers. Undefeated, they are 34-0. And just off the bottom of the tape. A little reprieve for the Tigers. Their mantra has been finding ways to win, even when it's looked like they've had no path to victory. They've managed 19-5 over the course of the year. And here they are playing for the state championship. Phillips gets it down, and Lauren Phillips has been very steady through the first couple of sets for Cox Mill. Phillips, a junior. And this team is built for future success as well. Mishandled on the serve, and that will draw Cox Mill to 10 set points. 24-14.
Serve receive errors are something that really can't happen with a team that plays at this level. Those mistakes have really got to be cleaned up.
Phillips will not get that one over. 24-15. We take a look at Cox Mill's roster. Out of everybody on this roster, only 5 seniors. And their big star players are juniors. 9-point lead. Set point, and there it is with the left-handed touch by Courtney Weber, their outstanding setter, who has been one of the big catalysts for this change in the guard for Cox Mill. Puts it down, and Cox Mill duplicates the opening set win, and they are rolling toward their first ever state championship. 25-15 in each of the first 2 sets. They'll switch sides, and Cox Mill will play for a state championship in set 3 when we return. To set the love lead for Cox Mill over Chapel Hill in pursuit of their first ever state volleyball championship. Chantel Jordan had her ear in the huddle. They're 25 points away. Chantel, what did you learn?
I did. Coach Phillips just told her girls, look, it's point by point at this time, and she wants them to stay focused. She said, don't get ahead of yourself. We still need to be really aggressive on our serves and just really keep your head in the game at this point and don't get ahead of yourself.
There we get a look at Michelle Phillips, who played her college volleyball at Arkansas State, and now in her 3rd year as the head coach of Cox Mill. And again, this is a school that was only established 7 years ago, and here they are now in their first ever state championship. But as we broke down the roster for Cox Mill in the second set. I mean, they have Rowland coming back, they have Farrington coming back, they have Caitlin Grubbs coming back, Zwicker, Merkler is just a freshman, as we mentioned. So the nucleus is certainly in place where we may very well see these same Chargers try to maybe defend the state championship next year.
You have to wonder if they're thinking the exact same thing, and for what they've been working for this whole season, knowing that they have a lot of these players returning, you can see their comfort level. They are very at ease right now. I think they are very confident in the work they've put in this season and ready to finish this 3rd set.
Yeah, so Cox Mill again returning next year. Searsma, they have Phillips, they have Weber, they have Rowland, Chapel Hill, as we just mentioned, they have a number of returners coming back as well, but Cox Mill looks right now to be built for a little bit of domination here at the 3A level. Chapel Hill will start this third set with Katie Hugie. And the third set underway. Short serve coming to retrieve is Melanie Jones. Here's the runner by Searsma. Well defended by Farrington in the back line by Chapel Hill. Phillips on the approach. Handled by Wander. Inspired opening defensive point by Chapel Hill, but they can't clear the free ball. First point to Cox Mill.
Talk about great defense, though, and I know that's what they're trying to focus on right out of the gate here, is making sure they can play those offensive balls that are coming really hard.
Lauren Phillips serving it for Cox Mill, and we get a 2 to the whistle and a violation on Cox Mill. 1-all. What did you see there?
So he called someone in the net, but I couldn't quite see the numbers that he called of who it was. So it looked like on that block, someone must have jumped into the net just a little bit.
All right, 1-all. Here's Shea Golden. She'll be playing D3 volleyball next year up at Middlebury in Vermont. Rowland, another bazooka kill by Taylor Rowland. I mean, there's just a different sound of the ball coming off of her hand.
You can see that connection between a hitter and a setter. When they connect well, they truly are unstoppable.
2-1 Chargers, third set. Phillips able to play it. Rowland took a little something off and still gets the point for Cox Mill, 3-1. Now, one of the players that Michelle Phillips brought up to us before the match on who really has improved the most to gel this team is Courtney Weber. And let's talk about her. She's number 11 for Cox Mill, 3-2 the lead. But she's the setter, and she said her job this year compared to what she was able to do last year has exponentially changed because now she kind of understands what it's like to be a setter, making everybody on this team look good.
And what an advantage to have a 6-foot setter. A lot of times your setters might be a little bit smaller, so you may have to think twice about do they play front row, do they block, but to be 6 foot, she's really started to get a good grasp on those dumps as well, and she's so tall that really gives her another advantage.
3-2 Cox Mill. And after a substitution, we are ready to resume. Avery Corfus, the junior for the Tigers, looking for the tie. There's a left-handed touch played down by Chapel Hill, and they recognize that one from Courtney Weber. Try to catch the Tigers sleeping a bit.
As I was literally just referencing her advantage on those dumps, there Chapel Hill answers.
3-all. Phillips, little miss hit. They get it to a running Rowland. Tigers for the lead. No, blocked down, and there is the 6-foot setter, Courtney Weber, right in the mix. 4-3 Chargers. I mean, Michelle Phillips is talking, this was night and day as far as the improvement and really the understanding of what Weber's job was from last year to this year. Seeing the dividends here. Ace for Weber, and it's 5-3 Cox Mill.
And it definitely shows. You can tell she's very comfortable in the role that she has on this team and being able to really fulfill the expectations that her team has.
And again, she seems to be playing with the same type of aplomb as we see from Rowland. You know, they're not over-exaggerating their celebrations. It's an expectation of a high level of play in yourself and your team. So when things go extremely well, you're not surprised at all. 6-3 Cox Mill. And I don't know if that's inherent to the kids or if it's a reflection of their head coach, Michelle Phillips, or maybe a combination of the two.
Having just a few minutes to talk with her before the game, I felt like that confidence was so apparent in everything that she referenced about this team and all that they have worked for. She seems very at ease. You don't really see nerves coming from them at all.
5-4 Cox Mill. Flying through is Taylor Rowland. It is tough to remind yourself where she is. She's all over the court, and she'll sneak up on you out of nowhere and then punish you.
And she's able to truly hit over the block, around the block, where it makes it really difficult to slow her down.
Merkler can't get it down. Can Rowland get there? No. It's into the bench of Cox Mill. 6-5 Chargers lead. Nadia Farrington back in for Chapel Hill. To the bench goes Merkler. Tigers down 1, third set. A little side spin on that serve. Weber sets. Phillips can't finish.
You could see that coverage there. I think they thought that ball was going to come a little bit more off the block, but truly just dropped straight down.
So Chapel Hill has come back to tie. 6-all, third set. Cox Mill dominating the first 2 sets. Farrington gives the Tigers a chance to lead. On the second ball, they played across, and that surprised Cox Mill. There's the dummy set, and there's the point for the Tigers, so they're beginning to mix things up a bit and having some success.
And you're starting to see that energy and that life come out of Shea Golden as she finishes that ball, trying to get her teammates excited.
7-6, good serve, couple of retreating to save. Rowland, that was deflected. That's a moral victory for the Tigers. Golden, denied by Phillips. Rowland can't do a whole lot with that one. Off the back, Grubbs. 7-all. Back in for Cox Mill, Allie Searsma. And the serve to Eford, one of the outgoing seniors on this Chargers team. That just did graze the net. Farrington, way long. That's Farrington trying to go over the block, didn't have enough English to bring that ball down.
And that's going to be a tough battle in between facing those blocks and keeping the ball in bounds for them.
8-7 Cox Mill. Looking for Golden. Powered it through, but sent right across. Another chance for the Tigers. Boy, a touch over the head. Played very well by Eford. Phillips can't put the first one down, but does in the second try, right at the feet of Hughey.
And that's going to be a tough matchup height-wise there, trying to see who can go up and try to joust that ball better.
Chargers by 2. There's the overpass. Free opportunity. There's the carroll by Allie Searsma. And again, we haven't seen a lot of that rear its head in the third set, but there's a setting mistake on the Tigers that cost them a critical point.
Coach Phillips had talked about Weber and how great she had become at setting. She does an excellent job of disguising where she's going.
Golden, they need this one, and they got it. Shea Golden trims it at 2. Unquestionably, this is a moment where the Tigers have to run this rally through their star, Shea Golden, on the outside. 10-8, Cox Mill. Short serve, Wander, tough to handle, and Wander with the ace to cut it to 1. Doesn't always need to be hard, just well placed and a little bit by surprise.
And Chapel Hill's entire bench comes off excited about that 1 point, and that's what they're going to need to keep.
She tried to go short again, a little too short. Chargers by 2, 11-9. Melanie Jones in for Cox Mill. She will retreat and serve. Fitzpatrick to the bench. Jones, a senior, serving up 2. This is Golden on the approach. Gets it through a couple, but not down. Phillips bunts it across. Golden got the touch. Beautiful save, Eford. Kept it alive. Here's Phillips. Shoves it deep. Point to the Chargers. Great defense by Cox Mill.
What a one-arm save on one of those balls that you don't think anyone has really got a shot at making a play out of, but they did just that.
That was Emma Eford keeping the point alive. Chargers by 3. And an awful set and bumped too far wide. Unforced error, and these are points you can ill afford to simply gift to Cox Mill at this stage. 13-9. Great serve by Jones. Golden just punches it across. Punched back with a whistle and a violation. A lift on Cox Mill. Michelle Phillips disagreeing vehemently. Sends her captain, Courtney Weber, to talk to the official. And And that doesn't help Michelle Phillips' demeanor at all. The explanation.
Looked like she thought the call was on the ball that was actually sent over, but I think he was making it on a touch before.
13-10, Chapel Hill down 3, now down 2. So a slight momentum shift to the Tigers. Chapel Hill, this is a must-win set. They dropped the first 2 convincingly. Weber, the set, quick set Phillips. Kept alive beautifully by Hoogie and sent across by Bailey Rose. Weber, the back set, the runner, saved by the Tigers. This is going to land wide. Great effort by Nadia Farrington, and Cox Mill to a 3-point lead.
You could see Chapel Hill was still excited about just being able to get a touch on that ball, and being able to play defensively is going to keep them in this set.
June Ericas in for Chapel Hill, number 3. Yugi handles the serve. Wander the set. Golden goes cross court, and this is going to land. Effort by Lauren Phillips. 14-12, Cox Mill, third set.
Definitely can't say there's any lack of effort from either side. They are truly going for everything they could possibly get a hand on.
Couple of subs in for Chapel Hill. Bailey Rose returns. 14-12, Cox Mill. Served by Shea Golden. Set by Weber, and there she is, in case you forgot where Taylor Rowland has been. Back onto the court, it's another power kill by Rowland.
There again, before the ball even hits Weber's hands, you truly can't tell where she's going. So being able to keep that block guessing of what direction she's headed is really one of their strengths.
Nia Bridges serving for Cox Mill, up 3. Phillips stunts that one, Rowland again. Got a touch, another deflection, and another big point for Cox Mill. And just like the first couple of sets did, this one now begins to be funneled right through Taylor Rowland. Timeout Chapel Hill as Cox Mill has inched out to a 4-point lead.
Coach Phillips had referenced no matter what ball is put up there, Taylor Rowland is able to capitalize on it, and she does just that. No matter if the set is tight, if the set is off, if she gets pulled in, it's like she's able to finish with the same swing every time, which is truly incredible.
Well, one of the things that Michelle Phillips has talked about with her team this year, about moments that have kind of brought this team together. They took a trip out to the beach in the preseason to bond and learn more about one another. They've also helped out in terms of breast cancer awareness and making donations after the flooding in South Carolina following the hurricane. I mean, this is a team that is well beyond what you see inside the dimensions of this volleyball court. And first off, congratulations to them for thinking much more globally about life. And these are relationships that are going to be built for a lifetime.
And I think it shows through the game of volleyball. It really showcases that.
16-12, Cox Mill. Weber for Rowland, blocked wide. That was a more emphatic attempted blocking Rowland. They got a lot of her kill try, but sent it out beyond the lines, and it's now 17-12. And the Charger fans who made the trip from Cabarrus County are about ready to start loosening up their lungs to celebrate. Set Weber, Rowland one more time. 18-12, Cox Mill.
Even when the block is there, she's still able to take care of business. No matter what she's doing with the ball, she really is a smart player.
Julia Charney, freshman for Chapel Hill, inserted in for the first time. She's on the front line. And Nia Bridges serves that one to the bottom of the net, almost under the net.
You see that look from Coach Phillips, like that's not quite what we were looking for.
I'm not sure they've seen a worse serve over the course of the year, but when you're 2 sets up and about 5 points up in the third set, you can afford. There's a lot of margin right now for the Chargers. And a nice wry smile by Bridges after that mistake. 18-13. Served by Zwicker. Bridges plays it. Looking for Rowland off the outside. It's kept alive. Moral victory for Chapel Hill. Another stuff of the nets, and we get a whistle. And a net violation on Chapel Hill.
Looks like Coach Fields is trying to argue if someone was in the net, or maybe he's asking for another call, but definitely some confusion on what call was made.
Well, that's a big point. Otherwise, it's 18-14, your serve. Instead, 19-13. He still disagrees. Backs off back to the sideline. And the Chargers closing in. Fitzpatrick back in for Cox Mill. Courtney Weber sends it down the line and wide. Well, there's time really for one last charge for Chapel Hill. And it must start right now. Chapel Hill state champions in 1994 and 2003, but those were each at the 4A level. They're now a 3A school out of the Big 8.
Looks like maybe some questions on some substitutions that were made.
Yep, looks like they have it straightened out now. 19-14 Cox Mill. Served by Wolf. She goes short, down the middle. The outside, Fitzpatrick. Long set cross court, down the line, and the kill by Merkler. Well, that point all set up on the soft serve to the middle by Marin Wolf, and she got the signal from her head coach right before. I mean, he held up some numbers on exactly where she feels his Charger defense is vulnerable on the serve. Back set, Rowland. Oh. No way to stop that. They're not vulnerable when you get it in her hands. Cox Mill now 5 points away. And again, defensively for Chapel Hill, you still can't exhale and relax when you know that Rowland is in the back line. They still play ball through her. Merkler. Handled by Weber. Bridges sets it. Merkler again. Doesn't get the touch over the nets.
Looked like she was trying to send that ball just over the block, but couldn't quite get enough on it.
21-15 Cox Mill. Taylor Rowland goes toward the corner. Tough to handle. Merkler. Rowland got her fingertips on it. Might have been an out ball. Point to Chapel Hill.
You actually just could read the lips of Coach Phillips saying exactly that. Looks like it was out, but I'm not sure. So some of those that are maybe in between, maybe safer to at least try to go for it, but tough ball to read.
21-16. Chapel Hill serving down 5, and that was a miss hit by Nadia Farrington. Ill-timed. 22-16. She was trying to look like inside out a serve and send it wide. Cox Mill 3 points away. Emma Eford. And a free ball across Farrington. Cox Mill trying to take one step closer. Through the middle. Oh, exclamation mark on Kira Kreider's kill in the third set. Chapel Hill within 5.
So you see, so she's usually a right side hitter, hitting that in the middle. So that's pretty incredible. Doesn't look like that's been her normal spot for the season to be able to finish a point like that.
Now the Tigers will have to be absolutely perfect. And that one is long, sent by Steersma. 22-18. Hannah Wander, the libero, just a sophomore. Pressure on each and every one of her serves. Phillips to Weber, quick set, Steersma. 2 points away are the Chargers.
You can feel that excitement on every point they're able to finish. You can tell they're just an inch closer, and that excitement is continuing on and on.
And a timeout taken by Chapel Hill, and that's going to give these Cox Mill Charger fans who made the couple-hour trip here a few extra minutes to loosen up their vocal cords.
As they chant, I believe that we will win. They're wanting these 2 points to finish here and not go on any further.
I mean, I'm not sure about that cheer when you're 2 sets up and up 23-18 in the third set.
You have to wonder what Coach Phillips is focusing on with these 2 points. Literally, 2 points could be all that's left in your season to be able to finish here.
Just a calm-looking huddle, a calm discussion right there.
Which has really been throughout all 3 sets so far, is they're just here to take care of business like they have every other game this season.
So ready to resume, 23-18 third set. Melanie Jones serving for the Chargers, undefeated in 34 matches in a row. 2 points away from a title. Quick set. Set back across, there's a deflection, Rowland keeps it alive. Phillips bumps Weber's way. Dive and save Tigers. And we get a lift, or actually a double hit on Chapel Hill. 24-18 Cox Mill. And the fans are now getting out their iPads and smartphones and hitting record. This is their moment for their first state championship. 24-18. And Chapel Hill might stop some fans on that smartphone. Reset, stop, re-record. Cox Mill leading 24-19. Watch where Rowland is. He's on the back line, near side. Will they go her way? Yes, they will. Here's Rowland for the championship. Handled by the Tigers. Sent across. There's the dig. Weber, the back set. Searsma, no. Steady set. Dug by Eford. The back set. Searsma one more time. There's the state championship for Cox Mill. Allie Searsma finishes it off. And Cox Mill, a high school established only 7 years ago. Well, hold on. Is this match over or not?
Looks like there are some differences in the calls that were made. So one line judge said no touch and the ball was out. The other line judge is calling that there was a touch on the ball.
And now there's the official end of this match. The officials had to get it squared up, and it is the championship to Cox Mill. Adrian, let's take one last look at championship point.
So I can't quite see that. It was Shea Golden that was over there to see if that ball went off the side of her hand or not before it hit out.
Well, it's all academic now. The hardware for the first time going to Cox Mill, a school that was just opened up 7 years ago. Michelle Phillips overtook the program 3 years back, and they cap an undefeated season, 35-0 straight sets victory over Chapel Hill. 25-15, 25-15, 25-19. And Chantel Jordan is standing by with Michelle Phillips. And we'll see if they are ready to go. Straight sets win for Cox Mill, 25-19 in set number 3. Let's go to Chantel, who's with the head coach of the Chargers, Michelle Phillips. Chantel?
Coach Phillips, a completely undefeated season. What do you have to say about that crew right behind you?
Oh, they are just awesome. They're an awesome group of girls. I've had most of them for quite a few years, so this is just kind of an overwhelming feeling for me as well. So it's kind of know what is going on in my head right now, but they're just awesome kids. You know, they work so hard in practice. They do what I ask. They're just great. I don't know what to say.
And now coming into this, you said that this year you guys have really just been focusing on teaching the girls how to trust one another and just be out there together as a team. Do you think they did that today?
Absolutely, absolutely. There was a lot of communication going on. Not everything worked perfectly for us, but that did not sway our game plan whatsoever. I saw them talking whenever things, kind of went awry, and they fixed it. So I'm so proud of them. I think everything that we set as a mission or as a goal for this season, they have absolutely achieved it.
Well, and you certainly did it in 3 sets, so that's unbelievable, the dream. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Guys.
All right, thanks, Chantel. And not a bead of sweat on the face of Michelle Phillips. Straight set championship win for Cox Mill, and they are built for the future as well. We'll come back and wrap it up. Cox Mill, straight set win over Chapel Hill for the 3A Women's Volleyball Championship. Back to Raleigh after these words on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. A state championship Heading to Concord, North Carolina, the Cox Mill Chargers culminated an undefeated season, 35-0, straight sets victory over Chapel Hill. And Adrian, what we just witnessed was really the culmination of a long process for Cox Mill, and it really it's emblematic of their head coach Michelle Phillips. They took her personality, they took her demeanor, and they got to work, and they meant business once this match tipped off.
She talked about the hard work that they put in from the very beginning of the season all the way up until this point, and it was very apparent of what they had worked on. As Taylor Rowland was truly one of their strong points, they were very, very deep in every aspect of the game and truly just dominated from start to finish.
Something special about that very first state championship, again, a school that just opened its doors 7 years ago. Well, Chapel Hill, the runner-up, 19-6, they finished. Not a lot of people expected them perhaps to get to this stage here for the finals. They take their second place medals and their trophy, wrap up the year that we saw from Ross Fields and the Tigers.
Of course, there has to be a little bit of disappointment that we're seeing now, but what an accomplishment just to be at this game today. And how many schools really fight and fight just to get on this stage, and they made it here. And what an incredible feat that was. Only 5 losses on the year. Out of those 5 losses, 4 of those could be potential state champions today because they are all playing.
All right, and Cox Mill finishes up an undefeated season, and as we mentioned, they don't lose a great deal. I mean, this is almost a junior-dominated nucleus of the program. What are the odds that we see Michelle Phillips and these Chargers right back here next year?
You have to wonder, is Coach Phillips thinking about that right now, starting to prepare for next year and all those that are returning? You can truly see that team chemistry, that excitement that they share, that bond as a team of one. And if they can continue that, I have all ideas. We will be seeing them right here again next year. All
right, well, that bond began months ago, and it ends here today. The championship trophy to Cox Mill, straight sets win over Chapel Hill. Well, it's going to wrap up the 3A Women's Volleyball State Championships. For Chantel Jordan, for Adrian Core, and the entire production team through Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Patrick Keenis from Reynolds Coliseum. Congratulations to the Cox Mill Chargers, 3A State Volleyball Champions. So long from Raleigh.